Hello, welcome back to the channel, and thank you for joining me once again. Today we are looking at a very important discussion that recently unfolded, one that touches on the very heart of South Africa's challenges. President Cyril Ramaphosa, during the national dialogue, raised a question that many South Africans have asked themselves at some point: why are so many people still poor while so few remain extremely rich? It is a question that digs deep into the inequalities in our country, and it is one that carries a lot of weight, not just for policymakers, but for every South African who feels the gap between rich and poor every single day. Please stay with me until the end of this video to hear the sources of this news so that you can verify the information for yourself. And before we dive deeper, don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you can stay updated on all the latest news and discussions that matter to us as South Africans. Now, let's unpack what happened. Ramaphosa was speaking during the national dialogue, which was set up as a platform for leaders, policymakers, and ordinary citizens to reflect on the state of the nation and the progress, or sometimes lack of progress, being made in addressing our biggest challenges. He reminded everyone that the divide between the wealthy and the poor is not something new, but it has grown more visible and more painful over the years. He pointed out that while South Africa has made strides in some areas, the structural issues inherited from the past, along with modern problems like unemployment, corruption, and inequality, have kept many people trapped in poverty. What made his remarks powerful is that he was not just reading from a policy document. He was asking a question that people can relate to in their everyday lives. For instance, you might see wealthy suburbs with well-maintained streets, private security, and top schools, while only a few kilometers away there are townships where residents still struggle with basic services, unreliable electricity, and a lack of job opportunities. That sharp contrast is what fuels frustration, and Ramaphosa acknowledged it directly. He reminded the audience that South Africa is one of the most unequal societies in the world. The statistics are alarming, but people don't really need statistics when they can see the inequality with their own eyes. For many, the question isn't just why are some people rich, but also why does it feel like opportunities are locked away for only a small group while the majority are left scrambling. And if we're being honest, the anger and hopelessness that come with such inequality can spill into unrest, something we've seen in recent years. Ramaphosa suggested that a new social compact is needed, one that forces both government and business to take responsibility in addressing inequality. He pushed the idea that wealth needs to circulate more broadly and not remain in the hands of a small elite. He acknowledged that it will not be easy, because those who have wealth often resist change, while those without are growing more impatient. But he also stressed that if South Africa is to avoid even deeper problems in the future, this issue has to be faced head-on. Now, this raises important debates. Some people agree with Ramaphosa's words but wonder whether his government is doing enough in practice. After all, South Africans are used to hearing about plans, dialogues, and promises, yet life in many communities remains the same or even worse. Load shedding has added to the pressure, inflation is squeezing households, and unemployment is stubbornly high. So while his message struck a chord, many are asking, when will words turn into real action? Others, especially in the business sector, argue that the solution lies not just in redistribution but in creating an economy that grows fast enough to create more jobs and opportunities. They warn that if redistribution is handled in the wrong way, it could chase away investment and end up harming the very people it's meant to help. This tension between redistributing wealth and growing wealth is at the center of South Africa's economic debate, and Ramaphosa's remarks bring it into sharper focus. He also touched on corruption, which is another obstacle. It's no use talking about reducing poverty if funds meant for development keep disappearing through corrupt deals and mismanagement. Many South Africans feel betrayed when they hear of billions lost in state capture or government contracts gone wrong, while they still live without proper services. Ramaphosa admitted that tackling corruption is a key part of ensuring that resources actually reach the people who need them most. What stands out about this whole discussion is that it isn't only about numbers, it's about dignity. Being poor in South Africa is not just about lacking money, it often means being left behind, being overlooked, and struggling to make your voice heard. Ramaphosa's question forces us to reflect on whether the country is really living up to the promise of freedom and democracy, where everyone should have a fair chance at a better life. At the same time, it's worth noting that the president was not only addressing South Africans. His words were aimed at the broader international audience too. South Africa's inequality is well known globally, and investors, development partners, and other nations are all watching how we handle it. If the gap between rich and poor continues to grow, it threatens social stability, and that in turn can affect the economy and international confidence. The national dialogue ended with a renewed call for unity and cooperation, but as always, the real test will be what happens next. South Africans are tired of empty promises and would rather see tangible results. Whether it's through better education, job creation, housing projects, or healthcare improvements, people want to see progress that is visible in their communities. Before I wrap up, let me share a light moment. Someone on social media joked that if poor people and rich people swapped bank accounts for just one day, many would faint when they see what the other side has been living with. Imagine logging into your account and suddenly finding only 12 Rand, or on the other side waking up to 12 million Rand. One person commented that if that happened, the queues at Woolworths would double overnight. Jokes aside though, these comments show that South Africans use humor to cope with the heavy reality of inequality. So, as we reflect on Ramaphosa's remarks, the challenge is clear. The question he raised is not just for government or business, but for the whole country. Why are so many poor while so few are rich? The answer will take more than words, it will take action, accountability, and a genuine commitment to building a fairer society. Thank you for staying with me until the end. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you never miss important updates and news that matter to you. All images used in this video are for illustration purposes only. Sources of this news include SABC News, News 24, Times Live, and Eyewitness News.